and we're going to discuss how to use the butter comb. It's an 8.5-inch comb with evenly spaced tines. You want to take the fur with one hand, separate it, and then with the comb you take the other hand and you gently comb away. Combs are really nice for poofing them out. Like, some people really like using the combs, getting through his head nicely. That's a lot of fur to get through, and their fur is really long. Now, Chris Christensen, CC, does sell de-icer mist that you can spray on your dog, and it helps demat them. So if you encounter a mat that is really difficult to get through, you don't want to trim a Sammy's fur. You want to be able to gently comb that out. And the de-icing spray, which is linked below, will help make that really super easy to get through. The comb, I can tell already that the comb is really poofing his fur up. Now, I'm not a professional groomer. I'm just a dog owner who's owned a few different dogs throughout my life. When I was 14, my family owned an American Eskimo, which is like a miniature Sammy, and his name was Muppet. I was Muppet's groomer. Muppet loved being brushed, and I would use one of these brushes on Muppet. I know you didn't like that brush, did you? But I used to brush Muppet every day, and Muppet loved having his belly brushed. And I would make brushing him nice and fun and very, very enjoyable. And Muppet, of course, was half the size of Yeti, so it didn't take as long to brush him. You kind of have to learn how to groom your dog, but you have to make it nice and enjoyable for them so that they don't mind getting groomed. Yeti right now isn't caring much for the comb, just because the comb is, come here, sweetie, come here over here, come here, baby. The comb is pulling on him a little bit. Yeti liked the brush more, the oval brush. I was grooming him with this comb, the 505 butter comb, but he doesn't really care much for the butter comb, and I struggled getting through to his skin and being able to pull it from the skin all the way through his coat without pulling it. So I did switch to his rake. It has the swivel heads on it. He doesn't seem to mind this one. Again, what I'm doing is I'm holding his fur back with one hand, and then with the other hand that has the rake, I'm pulling away from that area. If you have any dog at all, you'll realize their eyes get crusty. Like when they wake up in the morning, if they haven't had the crust removed throughout the day, they'll get crusty. So what I did when Yeti was little, I would work with him a few times a day, trying to get him used to me having my fingers like right at the edges of his eyes. He was used to it by probably a few months of age, where he didn't squirm and wiggle all over the place. But then once he was used to it, it was really nice for him to get his eyes cleaned up by his mom. And of course, he and I worked on developing our trust during that time too. You know, now you're my best buddy. Yeah, you're my best buddy. Now I know that this brush kind of pulls on his fur and scratches him a little bit because he kind of scoots his head around when I'm brushing underneath his head. With the CC oval brush, he wasn't scooting his head around. So I know that that one didn't pull on his fur. See how he moved his head? Another question Yeti and I have been asked is, how frequently do you bathe your dog? Well, before we started YouTube. No, actually he did get a bath during that time, very early on in that time. So about 2 years, he hasn't had a bath at all from me. He's had baths from professional groomers, but not from his mom. Now the reason I don't bathe Yeti is because they are resistant to stains. Like, they'll come in after rolling all over in the mud and being in everything and being filthy dirty, but the moment they dry off, all that dirt just brushes away. So all they really need is a grooming after going outside and rolling around and everything. Now, if you are professionally showing your dog, of course you can bathe them more frequently. But for Yeti and I, brushing is a bonding experience. I have brought Yeti in a few times to be professionally groomed, and when I bring him in to the professionals, they'll give him a bath, and then they'll blow dry him using a really high-speed, fast, quick, nice professional blow dryer that costs a few $100s. And the thing is almost as big as a vacuum cleaner, but it blows him dry in about an hour. Now, if you didn't use a high-speed blow dryer on your dog, on your Sammy, it would take them a full 24 hours to dry off. So using one of those things is a great idea if you're bathing your dog. But you don't want to use a people hair dryer. People hair dryers get hot. The amount of time that it takes to dry a Sammy, it would be much too long of a time spent with hot air blowing on them. And that would be really uncomfortable for your dog. So if you do use a person's hair dryer, you'd want to have it on the lowest heat setting possible. And it will take a lot longer than probably an hour to dry them. Because when I bathed Yeti and when I bathed Chewy, my first Sammy, they didn't sit still for very long with the hair dryer going on them, even though it was on low heat. They did not want to sit still. No, come here, Yeti, Yeti, come here. Yeti, come here. Hey, Yeti, we're not done. Yeti, Mr. Dogface. Yeti. Mr. Yeti, do you not want to be groomed today? I won't groom you today. Don't worry, we'll hang it up for the day. Some days are better than others, and today was just not a good day for him to get groomed, so we're calling it quits for the day. Yay, Yeti, you're not gonna get groomed.